To give us an update on the drownings in Durban and Cape Town, we're joined now by Dhaya Sewduth, Media Director at Lifesaving SA. Dhaya, thank you so much for joining us. You issued a statement giving us basically what you've had to deal with yesterday.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Linda, and a happy new year to you and your listeners. Yes, lifeguards certainly had their hands full throughout the day on the 1st, and obviously that will continue through this long weekend. There were a number of incidents that happened across the country. Lots of rescues were effected, but sadly there were some drownings that were reported.
Yeah, our reporter Zola Sholan is speaking to families who are out in KZN this morning outside the Pennington beach. And from the people that she's spoken to, a lot of them are complaining about not seeing a lot of lifeguards. And I know you've had your hands full this morning. Talk to us about how, the issues of resources have impacted on operations this year.
Well, our analysis of that particular incident is that those lifeguards are contracted by the municipality. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is a distinction between professional lifeguards who are employed by municipalities and voluntary lifeguards who are deployed by Lifesaving South Africa. Now, that particular beach is a lifeguarded. So it's a beach which has professional lifeguards, and we must understand that lifeguards also have duty hours. Mm. It's what we find is that a number of incidents also occur outside of duty hours. Like this morning, sadly, there was a report at Thompson's Bay in Palito of an adult male who drowned at 5:30 in the morning. Now, lifeguards are not on duty at that particular time. They sit in the hot sun day after day after day, keeping their eyes peeled on the bathers, and they have to go home and rest because they do the same thing over and over and over again. So our appeal then is that bathers must ensure that they go home or go and do other things to entertain themselves once the lifeguards go off on duty. At that particular beach, our understanding is that the lifeguards' hours were at 5 p.m. and the incident was reported around 5:30. Secondly, the bathers that were stripped away were actually in the ocean adjacent to the tidal pool. Now, that is absolutely dangerous. The tidal pool is obviously a safer environment, not absolutely safe. If there's big surf, you could get sucked out of a tidal pool. But if you're in the ocean right next door to a pier or a groin or a line of rocks, you're always going to get a rip current in that particular zone.
Yeah, you speak about, lifeguards, some being employed by the municipality. Do you think enough resources are deployed, particularly when you look at those that are employed by the municipality, to ensure that at least the times that are allocated or the times that they work in, there's enough safeguarding of people that go to the beach? Because we know that during this time, there are quite a number of people that go out to beaches. Do you find that also there's quite a number of people, a lot of people, and very little lifeguards to ensure the safety of bathers?
Well, if I had to look at this quite generally, mm-hmm. We all know South Africa has a huge unemployment issue. So we too would support the call for more lifeguards to be employed. If you look at all the professional lifeguards, they don't emerge from anywhere. They don't come from any universities, technicons, training institutions. Lifesaving South Africa has trained lifeguards over the years. So there's about 3,500 plus lifeguards that are employed professionally. We have about 8,000 members, and large numbers of them could also still find employment, but I cannot really comment on what the budgets are and what the allocations are from municipality to municipality. But certainly we would agree that there are numbers of lifeguards who can still find employment, especially even on a seasonal basis, during the peak periods.
Yeah, we've been showing live pictures from the Pennington Beach, and from what we can see, yes, we're seeing families that are waiting to hear any updates, but it seems there's some bathers that have still continued with their lives. They're still swimming at the ocean. Do you think there's enough education for ordinary members of society who access beaches daily about the dangers really that are associated with being at certain points at certain times at the beach?
Well, certainly, Lifesaving South Africa has worked as a non-profit organization. We've worked very hard. We developed to inculcate water safety and drowning prevention skills. We have the Water Smart Learning Hub. We have the Water Smart facilitators that go to schools and do these presentations to school children. We've actually written the water safety and the Water Smart within the life skills orientation subject within the school's curriculum at primary school level. But unfortunately, as a non-NPO, we cannot reach every school and every kid. We certainly would agree that more needs to be done, but also this also is linked to developing swimming skills amongst our kids in the country. We do know that very often municipal pools are non-operational, some for many, many years. Recently, there have been lots of pools that have been reopened, some after even 10 years. And there is a need to actually ensure that we have facilities for our nation's children to be learned to swim as well as to get the theory. But we would agree there's lots more needs to be done. There's lots more that needs to be done in every vernacular. As you know, our materials, our learning resources are all in English. Lots more needs to be done. And I believe that a range of multi-sectoral players can actually come into play here. If you just look at the faith-based organizations, and sadly, we've reported on a number of incidents of people drowning while they have baptisms along the coastline. Now, faith-based organizations command huge numbers of congregants, and certainly they need to play a role.
Yeah.
The education departments need to play a role. The municipalities, some of the bigger metros do have lots of advisories, but all of the municipalities need to, play this role, and also to convey consistent messaging. And the simplest one is to only swim where and when lifeguards are on duty.
Dhaya Sewduth.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much for your time. That's Dhaya Sewduth, who is a media director at Lifesaving SA.